Okay, so finding square roots of a number. So this just means, so for example, if our number was 64, that's our number, and we want to find the square roots of 64, we have to find a number that times by itself gives you 64. So a number that is squared, so some number that is squared, i.e. the same number times by itself, gives you 64. So that is square roots. Some number squared gives you 64. And we just need to find that number. And we can do this by using prime factor trees, which you should be quite familiar with since you did it about 2 weeks ago. So now we're going to do finding the square roots of 64. So using prime factor trees, we're going to have two factors that times together to make 64. So we can say that is 2 and 32. We know 2 is prime. 2 is prime, so we can circle 2. Now two factors that times together to make 32, well, you can halve that again. So you've got 2 and 16. So that's another 2, that's prime. 16 isn't prime, so you can go further than that. We can have 2 and 8, 2 and 8. 2 is prime, 8 isn't. Then we can have 2 and 4. We know 2 is prime again, and 4 can go down to 2 and 2. And now we know 2 is prime and 2 is prime. So we can't go any further than that. And now, because we want to find the square roots, we have to pair these numbers up. So pair the prime numbers. So before we pair them up, we're going to write this out as a multiplication. So we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's 3 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to move this up a bit further. Times 2. We had a 2 there, which we can put back in. So we've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which we've got here, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And now we can pair these prime numbers up. So we can say this is one pair, that is one pair, and that is one pair. And then once you've paired them up in 2s, you take one number from each pair. So you can just take this 2 down here, this 2 from here, and this 2 from here. So we just take one number from each pair, and then we times them. So 2 times 2 gives you 4, times 2 again gives you 8. And this is our answer. This is our square root of 64. That is our answer. And we know that 8 times 8 is 64. So 8 is indeed our square root of 64. I'll just show you another example. So now we can do finding the square roots of, let's say, 16. So we've got 16. We know we can have 4 times 4. Are these prime? No, they're not. So we can continue. So 4, we can have 2 times 2. And they are prime. Prime. This one is also the same. 2 times 2 is prime. So you can write this out. You can write this as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 again. And now we want to pair these prime numbers up. So
pair prime numbers.
So let's pair these two and pair these two. Take one number from each pair. So take one from here, that's 2. Take one from here, and that's 2. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. And 4 is our square root of 16. And that's our answer. Okay, just one more example. Finding square roots of, say, let's do 81. So 81, we know we can have 3, and we've got 27. So 3 times 27 is 81. Well, 3 is prime. 27 isn't prime. So we can say we can have 3 times 9. 3 there. And 9 isn't prime. We can have 3 times 3. So 3 again is prime. If we write this all out, we're going to have 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Then we're going to pair our prime numbers up.
So pair the prime numbers.
So we can only pair the prime numbers if the numbers are the same. So we've got 4 of the same numbers here, so we've got 2 pairs. So that's 1 pair there, 1 pair there. Again, just take one number from each pair, so 3 and 3 here. So 3 times 3, we get 9. And 9 is our square root of 81 because 9 squared is 9 times 9, which is 81. So 9 is our answer. Okay, so now we've got finding the cube roots of a number. So this is slightly different, but still somewhat similar. So if we take a number, say 27. So the cube root of 27 will be some number cubed. So we've got some number times by the same number 3 times, and we get 27. So our cube root will be this number. Let's find a cube root of 64. So we've got some number times the same number is 64. I'm going to find out this number here. So the 64 we know we can split into 2 and 32. We know that 2 is prime. 32 can be split into 2 and 16. We know 2 is prime, 16 isn't. We can have 2 times 8. 2 is prime and 8 can be split into 2 and 4. So again, 2 is prime and 4 can of course be split into 2 times 2. So 2 is prime, 2 is prime. Then again we write the numbers out in full. So we are going to have a long one, got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, so that's 3 more, times 2. So this time, instead of pairing the numbers, last time we paired the numbers because we had square roots, a number times by a number. Now we've got cube roots, so we're going to group the numbers into 3.
So group the same numbers into 3s.
So we can group these 3 numbers and we can group these three numbers. And then, again, we take one number from each group. Just take one number from this group, I'll just take 2 because they're all 2's, and take one number from this group, and they're all 2's, so it's just 2. So 2 times 2 gives us 4. So 4 should be our cube root of 64. So we can check this, we can say, well, is 4 cubed, so 4 times 4 times 4, is that equal to 64? So 4 times 4, well, 4 times 4 is 16, and in my head, 16 times by 4 is 64. So that checks out. So 4 is indeed our cube root of 64. So just one more example. Let's find the cube roots of, let's say, 8. So we've got some number cubed is going to equal to 8. And we have to find this number. So first step is we can split 8 into 2 and 4. So 2 is of course prime, and 4 isn't prime, but 4 can be split into 2 times 2, and they are prime. And that's it. So if we write this out, we've got 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 times 2, and then as we've got cube roots, we're going to group these numbers. So group into groups of 3's. So because we've just got 3 numbers here, we only have one group. So this is just one group. And we just take one number from each group. We've just got one group, so we take one number from this group, and that is just 2. And we have nothing else. So 2 is just our answer. So does that work? So let's check it. We've got 2 cubed. Does that equal 8? Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8. So yes, this is our answer.